Hi there! In this video, I want to review with you a new service design job. And we will do that by reviewing a service design job in the US. And you might ask, but Daniele, why do you do that every week with your mate Mark? You know, we want to help service designers build and shape a fulfilling career. And reviewing jobs is one part of that goal that we have, but we do a few more things. For example, we also offer career guides where you can learn how to get hired as a service designer or how to start a career in service design. And obviously, we do way much more stuff. For example, we have a weekly newsletter that you can check so that you receive the jobs directly in your inbox. But let's go back to this service design job that we want to review, which is in the US. So I'm on the website servicedesignjobs.com and I'm gonna look for that job that I've seen, which is very interesting. And it's a senior service designer job at Mailchimp in Atlanta. So let's open that page. And I'll make the page a little bigger. We'll put my little face on the side. Give me a second. So the page is now much easier to read also for you. And I have a first question that I want to answer in this video, which is, for what type of service designer is this job for? So if you don't want to read all this job description, you can just enjoy the few parts that I will select for you. So in the first description that we have here, we can really see that there is this idea of balancing stakeholder needs and facilitate alignment. Another thing we see, which is very strong in here, is experience navigating, coordinating, facilitating discussions between multiple lanes of business. So what we see here is they are really looking for a service designer who can facilitate, who can make people who disagree put them together and then have a kind of a workshop or something that brings agreement. So if you are the kind of facilitator guy, I think this can be a very interesting job for you. So that's kind of like one key person who might be very interested in this job offer. It's people who are very good at facilitating. But here we see kind of that they might be looking for what we call with Mark an unicorn, someone who does everything and perfectly. So you will see that because, they say quite clearly, oh, you also need to be able to work with tools like Miro and Figma, and bonus if you have experience working with tools like Qualtrics, Pendo, or Locker. So what we see from that is that they are not looking only for a great facilitator who can run workshops, bring people together, and do the kind of strategy phase, but they seem to look also for someone who is able to do a bit of implementation. And we see that especially with the fact that they mention tools like Figma. So here you need to be for sure someone who is pretty good at digital, because obviously it's a very digital company and they might expect from you that you can work really well with all the digital tools. So to answer that question, for what type of service designer is this job for, basically I see two types of people who are very good in facilitation and people who are very good with the digital tools that we use these days. So let me jump to the second question I want to answer in this little video with you is, what did I like about this job offer? There are a few things that I really like in this job offer, and the first one is the fact that they are pretty clear about what they expect. And I think that's really well done here. They say quite clearly, hey, if you have experience working with tools like Qualtrics, Pendo, or Looker, good for you. And I think that's a good information, because if I was looking for a job right now and I would find this company interesting, then for sure I will check these tools, watch a few tutorials, maybe try them out so that I can already feel a bit more confident and basically say, oh, I don't know these tools as an expert, but I've already experienced them a few times. So I think that's really helping that they are quite clear on the expectations. The other thing I really like about this job offer is that they share a bit more about, what type of company is this. They're saying a lot about the place where this company is, how they hire. They have focused on humble people, and they even provide a link to explain what they mean about that. Uh, and we can see it here, which strangely enough, is not very clear about humble people, but you should find something about humble people in there. And basically, what I like here is really this idea that you get a bit of a view of how the company is. And another thing which is interesting is that they started with a bit of information about their company, about which department is looking for a service designer, which is a very good information to know because now you know here that it's within the design department and that you will be part of a multidisciplinary team. And so this is a very good information for a senior service designer because then you know, okay, they have already quite a good design maturity level at that company. Obviously, if you know Mailchimp, you know that they have a very good design perspective. But if you didn't know Mailchimp, I think this kind of paragraph would reassure you. And so basically, this thing that I find quite interesting here is that they have kind of a sandwich between or at the beginning and at the end with stuff about their company, and then they describe the job offer. And for a job offer, it's a quite quick one to read. So I think that's quite enjoyable too, and that's something I really like also about that job offer. Final question for this video that I want to answer is, what questions should you ask during the interview? Obviously, no job offer is perfect, and if it was, it will be so long and with so much information that it will be super boring. That's why there is always questions that you need to ask in the interview if you are invited. And I hope you will be invited for this senior service designer job at Mailchimp. One of the questions I would obviously ask is salary. How does it work with salaries at Mailchimp? And not just the salary for this job, but how do they calculate salaries? Is it Do they have a secret formula, or do you have to how do you say that in English? Do you have to make an offer? They do a counter offer, etc. Or do they have kind of a table which is clear and where you can see the salaries of everyone? And I think that's a very interesting question, not just for knowing how much money you will make, but also to kind of understand the culture of the company. And I think that's a good question you can ask. And second question, which I think is quite interesting to ask, especially in this COVID time, and by the way, quick note, that's also quite something that I like, is they have here a little guide that shows how their hiring processes have changed because of the COVID-19 situation. But let me go back to the question that you could ask. One question you could ask is, do you guys plan to go fully remote, or would you accept to have employees which are fully remote in the future, even after the COVID-19 situation is finished? And I think that again will give you a lot of information about how the work happens at Mailchimp and what are kind of the expectations when COVID will be done, hopefully. Will you have to go back in the office every day, or is remote work something which is accepted, or is it even possible to go fully remote and maybe work for the US but live somewhere else? So these are the questions that I think you could ask during an interview because they will reveal a lot about the culture, the salary, and how they make and plan the salaries. And the second question is how they think remote work could happen in the future at Mailchimp. So we tried, or I tried to answer 3 questions in this video: for what type of service designer this job is for, what did I like, and what questions you can ask. That's it for this video. I'm very excited that you are still here watching, and if you like this kind of reviews, my mate Mark reviewed a senior service design job offer in Canada, and you can watch it also right now. And we will see each other maybe next week or the week after for a new episode of this Service Design Jobs Critique. Bye bye and thanks for watching.